Welcome to the Via Stoica podcast. I'm your host, Benny, and this is one of the Stoic Quotes editions. Every Friday, we do these quotes. We have shorter episodes, around 10 minutes, and on Tuesday, we have the longer episodes where we dive deep into a topic, and we have some great interviews. You can check out those and the amazing people we've had on the podcast. But today, we're going to look at a quote by Epictetus. And again, first, if you like the podcast, please like and subscribe and leave comments because we love to read those and some feedback and questions if you have them, and we can maybe dedicate some episodes on questions as well. But for now, we're going to look at a quote by Epictetus. This is my trusty copy, the Everyman edition, which I like, and it's been used and traveled with me many times. But this one is from the Handbook, the Enchiridion, as Arrian wrote it for himself, based on his teaching, the teachings of Epictetus, the discourses. And when he was a student with Epictetus, he took very good notes, and he made this little handbook for himself. And it's also a great tip for you if you want to have some inspiration, some tips by hand. Make yourself a little notebook. Write down some quotes that you think are inspiring, some lessons, some of the things that you might need as a reminder in difficult moments. And you can go to vstoica.com where we have a large database of quotes where you can just go and pick them and choose the ones that inspire you the most. So please feel free to do so. But here we go. This is the quote that I chose for this week from Epictetus, Handbook number 37. And it goes like this. If you take on a role that is beyond your powers, you not only disgrace yourself in that role, but you neglect the role that you were capable of fulfilling. Now, we're going to unpack it a little bit more, but let me just read some other translations because I think that that's interesting to look at as well. This is from the Penguin Classics. He says, if you undertake a role beyond your means, you will not only embarrass yourself in that, you miss the chance of a role that you might have fulfilled successfully. See, they're more or less on the same way of thinking. Here's another one. If you take on a role that's beyond your capabilities, you not only disgrace yourself in that one, but you've passed up the role that you were capable of performing well. Now, what is the one? It's interesting why would Arrian choose a quote like this to put in number 37 there. Maybe he was struggling with the roles, right? He was a very important person back in the day in the Roman Empire. He turned out to be a consul, if I remember correctly, or at least a governor in some areas and high up in the military as well. He knew one of Epictetus, one of Marcus Aurelius's teachers, probably a guy called Rusticus, and Marcus Aurelius thanks Rusticus for giving him the discourses by Epictetus as recorded by Arrian. But it's also a good reminder for us when we think about the roles that we take on in life. And some people want to go beyond those roles because they feel like they have to establish themselves or prove themselves and show the world really like, oh, look at how well I am, how good I am, but they neglect the ones that they really should be doing, that they would be capable of fulfilling. And on the one hand, this is also a part of play, just experimenting, see that, take on the jobs or the responsibilities and duties that you might think are next level, and then you might realize that that might be a level too high for you, and that's good because that's more information about who you are. A lot of the times we see that as a failure. A lot of the times we see the fact that we are not suited for a specific role that is high. And let's say you go into a corporate company and you climb the ladder and you become a manager and you become a C-suite individual, like a CEO or whatever. And then in that role, is like, this isn't me. I'm just working all these hours, all this pressure, all the stress, and you're facing burnout, all of these things. Maybe it's time to take a step back, and that's not a bad thing, right? The only problem with this is that we tend to connect those jobs and our financial life and our personal lives so much that if we take a step back, then the life that we are used to living, now we have to reduce, we have to take a step back. But then if you ask yourself what is more important, right? The time that you spend at work, the time that you spend making that money to live that kind of a life is spent in a way that it's costing you your life or your mental, your freedom, your mental capacity to deal with life, maybe facing burnout. You've got to say, let me take a step back because the role that I try to fulfill isn't really mine. And I'm missing the opportunity to fulfill what's really meant for me to do. And not everybody is meant to be a CEO. Not everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur. Not everybody is meant to be sitting behind a desk, but some people are and some people aren't. And that's our journey in life. That's the beauty of it. That's the great thing, that we have to experiment. We have to try these things. And sometimes, yes, we have to hit that wall and see that this isn't for me. Realize the fact that, hey, maybe this is just too much for me to deal with. Let me take a step back. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually very important to undertake. We have to try to find those limits, but we also have to be honest to recognize the limits and understand, like, this isn't for me. Let me take a step back. And sometimes when we are in a role and we feel unfulfilled, we have to take a step forward. We have to move to the next level, to be in that uncomfortable zone, because staying in the comfort zone is for too long isn't good for our progress either. And if it's in your job, in your job, in your relationships, in your personal life, with all the other things there, we don't have to feel the same thing in all the aspects of life. That's where role ethics and Stoic philosophy is really important. We've got to understand the role that we play in each segment and each part of our lives. Am I a partner? Then I've got to be the best partner that I can. If I'm at work, I've got to be the best person at work that I can. My family, the same. So we've got to really evaluate these roles, the duties that we have, and we've got to find out where we are best suited, where we are best fitted for those jobs and those duties that we have that come with those roles. Again, if you are struggling at work and you are seeing all the responsibilities, and but you have this feelings like, I can't take a step back, I've got to stay here because what will people think of me? Well, people will think whatever they want. And believe me, I've struggled with this, and I still do struggle with this. What will people think of me? Well, people will think whatever they want, and they will keep doing so, whether you stay or whether you not, whether you step down from that position. And don't let the external factors of money or life or relationships hold you there. If that's something that you've really struggled with, and if that's breaking you as a person, take a step back. Move yourself from that position, remove yourself from that place, and find the right balance between work and life and whatever is, whatever else you're doing, and find your priorities and your values in life. That is what is key in life. That's why we need a philosophy of life to show us what is truly important. Instead of chasing those externals, we can look inside and say, maybe I have enough. Maybe I don't need to reach for that promotion because I will just add more hours to me being in the job, more stress, more pressure. Maybe I like to have more time for myself. Maybe that 9 to 5 job is perfect for me because I want to spend the rest of my hours with my family, with my loved ones, with my hobbies, with my whatever. So that's something that we've really got to think about. And that's why a quote like this is a good reminder. And I believe that that's why Arian put it in his handbook, in his Enchiridion, because he wanted to remind himself of the things that he was doing and keep reflecting on it. Is this really what I should be doing? Or should I be doing more, or should I be doing less? Or maybe it's perfect. But we've got to know all the other aspects of life that are important to us to find that right balance. And that's why I'm going to read it again before we close this off. But that's why this one is really important. It's highlighted here in my book as well. So again, when you are in a job, when you are in a relationship, or when you are in a family situation, or whatever role that you play, ask yourself this. If you take on a role that is beyond your powers, you not only disgrace yourself in that role, but you neglect the role that you were capable of fulfilling. So reflect, journal, whatever works for you. Reflect on the duties, responsibilities that you have, and maybe you've got to take a step back. And there's no shame, there's no problem. That's not called failure. That's just being able to understand yourself better, and that's victory. That's progress. So thank you again for listening, for tuning in. Again, if you like these quotes, if you like what we're doing here, like and subscribe to the podcast if you're on YouTube or whatever, and leave a comment. Tell us what you think. And if you're struggling with these and with the roles in life and with job and promotion and thing, book a free consultation so we can help you figure out, fine tune, find that balance, and get you on the right track in life again. So thank you very much, and hope to see you in the next one.